Hey, we're cooking with gas here on the Jewcast.
Okay, careful using a phrase like that.
This trial is a travesty. It's a travesty of a mockery, of a sham, of a mockery, of a travesty, of two mockeries of a sham.
Tradition!
Oh, shut up, Carl! Shut your goddamn Jew mouth! You people are why there's war in the Middle East!
Gekackt von Jan.
Nebbig.
Verpoepoepoe.
Vermischt.
Verkackt.
Vertutzt.
Verstonken.
Fartig.
Exactly.
You're what Grammy Hall would call a real Jew.
Hey now, episode 81 of American.
Whoa, an 8 and a 1?
Yes, it's like Chai, but backwards.
Just in time for the new year.
I'm very excited for the Rosh
Apples
Hashanah.
dipped in honey for Rosh Hashanah. That's as much as I'm celebrating. No,
Really? That's all you're going to celebrate?
No, I'm going to have some apples and honey. I love me some apples and honey. Maybe some pomegranate.
I like to
Maybe I'll go to Russ and Daughters and get some whitefish. I actually have some comedy shows, so maybe I'll like blow the shofar for the audience.
Are you going to bring? Do you have a shofar to bring?
No, I don't have one, but I could be like. I mean, I thought that was pretty accurate.
I mean,
I nailed Tequila.
Tequila. I have a shofar, by the way. I don't
You
know
have
if
a shofar?
Yes, I have a shofar at my parents' house that was given to me by my rabbi when I was in the hospital in high school. I was in the hospital on Rosh Hashanah, and so my rabbi came to visit me in the hospital. He brought me a plant, and he blew the shofar, and afterwards he let me keep the shofar.
Have you ever smoked pot out of it?
Not yet.
I feel like that's something that needs to be done. So Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year. I think it's coming at an interesting time. A lot of craziness. Has been a very crazy year. I think we're ready to kind of start something new. So hopefully, the Jewish New Year will help bring in this new time of post-COVID living.
I'll say this too. I think that Rosh Hashanah being the Jewish New Year, it's one of the two of the high holy days because Yom Kippur is next week.
Right.
They're the big holidays that people tend to go to temple for, and that you actually need to get like tickets for. It's a popular holiday.
Everybody wants to go.
Yeah.
It's like they don't care all year, and then it's like, oh, high holidays, let's go to synagogue.
You don't see the traditional scalpers out front, like I got two together. Who needs two together? You don't see that, but you can. There is a network. You have to know somebody.
Women's sections.
Yeah. I got, you want to go to temple with your family. It's like I got two that are very far apart. I got two that are very far apart. Who wants two that are very far apart?
Will people also eat round challah on Rosh Hashanah? I could go for some round challah.
Well, I just think, the challenges that COVID has presented this year and has made a lot of Jewish services and other all sorts of religious services dangerous and canceled. I feel like the conversations that I've been hearing about how people are going to celebrate the high holy days this year is that they're not going to temple for Rosh Hashanah and they're going to find a way to go to like an outdoor service for Yom Kippur.
That's an idea.
I've heard of congregations doing that where some temples have a parking lot or a backyard or a garden somewhere where they can do it outside so that it's a little bit less.
I think what you're talking about is great, and I think we want to encourage people this high holiday season to be responsible because there is a bunch of anti-Semitism brewing from Jews gathering in groups that people are saying are super spreader events and stuff. So let's try not to do that. There's enough hatred going on for us and our people. We don't need to give people excuses and reasons to give us more.
I also think that one of the things that I think that you and I have also often talked about what I love about Judaism, one of my favorite things is the family connection. The bringing of family together and to be able to I'm going to my mom's house for Rosh Hashanah tomorrow for dinner. It's just going to be I think they're inviting our rabbi and like one other friend. It's going to be pretty responsible, and it's going to be delicious. My mom's making her matzo ball soup and her brisket. Ooh. But still, this is not necessarily, a holiday that you have to go to temple to celebrate. I think Yom Kippur is more of that community thing, but I think a lot of times there are so many different ways that you can commemorate it without doing it the same way that you've done it, when there isn't a pandemic happening. There are definitely safe ways to celebrate and to commemorate these high holidays on your own or with a small number of family. It's
Definitely. Don't let anyone else blow your shofar.
Exactly. That's going to be tough. You can't let anybody else blow the shofar. You have to bring your own.
And
you got to wipe it down after each toot.
Got to be very careful these days because of COVID.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we hope everybody has a sweet year.
Yeah.
And a great Rosh Hashanah.
And listen, I'm probably not the only one that feels like the phrase "blowing the shofar" sounds kind of dirty, but
it does, right?
Yeah.
How'd it go with that girl you went out with the other night? She blew the old shofar.
Yeah.
Hey-o!
Actually, it would be the other way around probably. How did it go with the girl the other night? Not so great. She wouldn't blow the shofar. That's
maybe. I don't know why you got to see it as the glass is half a blowjob or whatever. You do you. I guess there's no good way to segue into this, but an appalling lack of knowledge towards the Holocaust.
I thought there was, listen, there are a lot of uncomfortable ways to segue into the Holocaust that still feel natural and organic. And especially on this podcast, I mean, we haven't shied away. We've often opened with stuff about the Holocaust or anti-Semitism or mostly bad news before we talk about the fun stuff. But because it's Rosh Hashanah, that was a better way to open.
We did open with the Rosh Hashanah.
But
maybe we should have waited. But
we have an audience that knows to expect that there is going to be a left turn into horrible bad news about the Jews somewhere in the episode.
It's just sad that the lack of knowledge amongst millennials and Gen Z.
Yes.
When like two-thirds of them don't have like just the most basic Holocaust knowledge. They can't name a concentration camp. They don't know what Auschwitz is. They don't know that 6 million Jews died. Most alarming is around 1 in 10 think Jews caused the Holocaust.
It's ridiculous, right?
How crazy is that? And this is one of the first 50-state surveys about Holocaust knowledge for millennials and Gen Z, and they did not do well. I mean, come on. Like, who hasn't seen Schindler's List? There were over 40,000 different concentration camps and ghettos, and it's pretty crazy that someone can't, name at least Auschwitz. I mean, I could probably only name a couple, but... So
if you haven't heard, this is a Pew Research study that just came out that found that only 45% of people gave correct answers about information about the Holocaust. More than half of Americans that they surveyed did not know what they were talking about.
Right, in the Gen Z millennial age group, which is crazy because anti-Semitism's running high. And, while these people, they may not have known a lot of information about the Holocaust, a lot of them did say that they had seen Holocaust denial stuff on the internet. And it's crazy that stuff's becoming more and more available. And, Facebook has to come down harder on such things, and Twitter, all social media. But it's just kind of insane that, like, history is being forgotten. One of the things for the Holocaust is never forget.
Yeah.
But obviously it is being forgotten, and as the survivors are dying and there's fewer and fewer are with us, it's more important than ever then we pass on this knowledge to people that know just some basics about the Holocaust.
Yeah, I mean, it's disturbing that so many people that were surveyed in this thing didn't even know that Hitler was fucking elected democratically before he turned Germany into Nazi Germany. Like, more than half of the people in this thing are under the impression that Hitler overthrew the government and took it over, which is not the case. I mean, that's what's so scary about what's happening right now in our country. The way that Trump is dismantling a lot of these laws and thinks that he's above the law, that he's going to go for saying that he should probably get a third term because of the fact that he was treated so unfairly in this first one, is sowing the seeds of our path into becoming fucking Nazi Germany. And it's crazy that people don't see.
And I think what's even worse is all the misinformation that he's spreading, and certainly that he has turned the truth almost against us. And now when people say the truth, it's just all chalked up to fake news and part of the liberal agenda in media, where it's just like this, like these are just facts, talking science, and it's fake news, and it's just insane. And with that kind of doubt, it just sows more doubt for people that are Holocaust deniers, which mostly are, from my experience, Trump fans. Like I'm sorry, but a lot of the neo-Nazis, white supremacists that kind of share that information and want to spread that false narrative, they are supporters of Trump, which is another very confusing thing to me. Why so many Jews like Trump? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I mean, Trump is always so transparent about the fact that he, in my opinion, like he doesn't care about anybody but himself. So it's pretty transparent when you see him, kowtowing or pandering to his base or to the people that he wants to try to influence. And so it's the fact that there are Jews that support Trump, but he's trying to get more Jews to support him, and he uses pretty, sometimes anti-Semitic tropes to do so. Like, we talked about this last week. I mentioned the fact that he was at some Jewish event where he told that Jewish audience, like, I know you guys love money, so I'm your guy.
He did something again recently where he was on a call about Rosh Hashanah, and he again referred to your country, again putting Jews, that Israel is their country.
Right. So
it's another trope, stereotypical trope against Jews, that they care more about Israel than they do about like America, and like. Just because you're a Jew in America doesn't mean that Israel is your country.
Also, I'll say this: they just signed these historic peace agreements between the United Arab Emirates and Israel, and there are flights now going back for the first time in forever. It's like it is somewhat historic, and we'll see how it plays out. I was telling somebody yesterday, I think it's kind of amazing that our president, who claims to be America first, managed to tout himself achieving peace in the Middle East before the Midwest. But, I think pretty transparent that he's just trying to align himself with Jews who put Israel and America's role in what's going on over there as a priority within this election. But I think that there are so many other issues in this election. To spend so much time on that one issue just to get American Jews to vote for him is...
Which a majority did not in 2016, and I hope they don't, people... Don't do it, guys. Don't do it. I mean, hey, Trump, I'm glad he's taking steps to have peace in the Middle East. His involvement really does seem a little bit more like a photo op than him really like making this thing happen, because they had been, having relations for actually quite some time now and kind of building up to this on their own. But still, I'll give Trump props where props are due. I'm glad that he is making an effort in the Middle East, but I don't think he's doing so because he cares about the Middle East. I think he's doing so because he wants to get more votes, and he thinks this will help him.
Yeah, that's it. But ultimately,
and he didn't stop, and he didn't help the Palestinians at all. There's still so much anger and hatred there. Like the countries that are doing this are kind of more countries that are open to something like this and aren't as anti-Semitic and against the Jews and haven't suffered at the hands of Israel. And it wasn't like such a difficult feat of what he accomplished.
These are nations that want peace as well. Yeah. It's not like, he's like, hey, I got a great idea. Anyway.
Yeah, I fed the dog. Like, the dog was hungry, brah.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. Going back to the Pew Research study about how, I think the bottom line and the larger underlying issue of a lot of this stuff is that there's just not enough education about that out there. The fact that it's been a long time since we went to school. The curriculums have changed, and they definitely white. I don't know what they're teaching the kids in high school these days. But I know that they've definitely have already made attempts to whitewash the way that slavery in our country has been depicted. So, I just think that, we need to be better about educating people on these atrocities and on the history and the because you don't really get to see the real the silver linings and the positive growth that comes out of that devastation. The people that have persevered and overcome that type of adversity, to understand that there are still people alive that were in those concentration camps. There's not too many of them left now, but there are still those people. They're inspiring. They are. It's kind of amazing. Some of their outlooks are more positive than people we know. It's like they still.
No, absolutely. And you know what? If you are a Jewish person, then I feel like some of the responsibility falls on you to educate your non-Jewish friends. Make sure they know about the Holocaust, about Auschwitz, about how many Jews were senselessly slaughtered during World War II at the hands of the Nazis, and that it's not, just a Quentin Tarantino movie, but it's a real historical thing that happened that affected the world. They tried, genocide. They wanted to wipe out a whole religion of people. And it's insane, and it's crazy. People don't know about it, and that there are Holocaust deniers out there. It's just, it's so crazy. It leaks into these dumb conspiracy theories, and it's so preposterous what people are willing to accept and believe, and what they are willing to ignore and deny.
Yeah, I think ultimately at the end of the day, though, I think it's good to share these stories, so much so because they help highlight the incredible will to survive that these people have shown, and it makes that story so much more impactful, in my opinion. That it's when you consider the larger context of it. So there's also no real good segue into our guest today, I guess, from that, but.
He loves to be brought up right after Holocaust, but really excited to have Dani Zoldan on the show today.
Yes, he's one of the owners of Stand Up New York Comedy Club on the Upper West Side.
Hey, we're really excited to have Dani Zoldan on the show today. He's one of the co-owners of Stand Up New York and an entrepreneur. And, I mean, I feel like you have so many titles, Dani. I don't know which ones to bring you on by. You have too many credits.
I don't know, man. Like, even my daughter, my 8-year-old, like, when her friends ask her what I do, like, she doesn't even know what to say. She keeps asking me, like, what do I tell my friends? Like, are you just a club owner or entrepreneur, a media entrepreneur, an entertainment entrepreneur? I don't know. I'm 39, and I've been trying to figure that out since I'm 19. How to brand myself. I still don't know.
Yeah, don't limit yourself. Don't put yourself in a box.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to be in telecom, which is like you're like starting to fall asleep already. When I say, but I was running a telecom business and a club at the same time.
Wow.
So when I would meet someone, like at synagogue, let's say, or I was sitting on a plane with someone, I didn't want to talk with them, and they asked me what I did, I would say I'm in telecom, and like
nice.
Conversation like ends,
Yeah, that's what Donnie would bring up too, and comics would try to get him to have spots at the club.
I'm telecom.
Talking about telecom.
Yeah.
After years of literally phoning it in, you finally settled on a business that you have more passion about.
Definitely. I should have, focused on this business long before I got out of telecom. I got out of telecom like 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I should have gotten out. I lost my passion in that business well before that.
Yeah. Well,
okay. Well,
I think
I'm sure you got a couple more years before you lose your passion about comedy.
Right. Well, no, I think it's.
That's tough. I don't know. Like, so many crazy things happen in this business, and I mean, every day it's like something new. I don't see how anyone can lose like their passion for this business. It's so exciting. Like,
oh my God, that's great to hear a club owner say.
I mean,
without having to buy 2 drink minimum to hear it.
I can't. I mean, how can you walk away from a business like this and like all the comics that you've met over the years to walk away from that network?
Yeah.
How can you do that?
Well, I don't know if you can. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, a lot of comedians, like, we don't once comedy has its hooks in you, you cannot get. We don't do it because it's lucrative. We do it because this is what we do. This is who we are. It's not really a choice at a certain point.
Yeah, I mean, have you heard of like it's rare where there's like a comic, that a successful comic that walks away.
Yeah.
Right? Have you heard one?
I mean, Dave Chappelle walked away for a while.
Yeah, but who knows what the reasons were? I
mean, I know a couple people that have walked away that have come back. I know that.
But I bet you Dave didn't walk away like for good. I think he had like a plan.
He always intended of coming back.
I always think
I mean, that's what I think.
I always think about Nate Bargatze's joke, which is that he can never quit comedy because there's nobody to quit to. Who would care?
That's funny.
No, I agree. I feel like once you're in it for like a couple of years, like there's really no getting out. Even if you don't perform as often, there's always a part of it that's in you. You kind of are yearning for the stage. Or, I mean, even if you quit comedy, if you go to a comedy club 5 years later, you're sitting there being like, I wonder if I could get on for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I've often said that my career is sort of like the anti-Godfather. Every time they try to push me out, I pull myself back in. You can't get rid of me.
I mean, it's because it's also a lifestyle. I mean,
It is a lifestyle.
It's like it's part of you, right?
Yeah.
It's not like a job. You don't clock in, at 9 and clock out at 5. Like, you live and breathe this. It's part of you.
Well, so what is your comedy background? What got you involved in being a club owner? Like, how did you get to that point?
So I lived in Long Island till I was 14.
Mm-hmm.
And then my family moved to Manhattan right before I started high school. And we lived on 18th Street between 5th and Broadway. Right outside of the village, and I used to walk to the Comedy Cellar when I was in high school on weekends. I used to walk down 5th, like go through Washington Square Park, and it's the best neighborhood. I love it down there. I was going to the Cellar when I was like 15, 16 years old. I was in high school. Not really so much for the love of like stand up, and like I've been criticized for like saying this. But I just like the experience of being in a comedy club, or it could be like a music venue, more than like the love of like stand up. I mean, everyone loves like comedy and stand up, but I love just being there and, looking at the cute waitress and being
Oh, wow, Donnie, we don't want them to meet to you.
I didn't say like touch the waitress, but I just love being in that environment. And like half the time, like I probably wasn't even like listening to like the act. I was just like looking around and looking at the people and watching people laugh and looking at the decor. I don't know. That's just like how my mind works.
Right.
And then Gabe Waldman, who I'm sure you guys know.
Yeah, we had him on last week.
Did you transcribe the podcast subtitles? But I went to high school with Gabe. So, like, me and Gabe used to go to the Cellar, and we used to go to Stand Up New York, and, Don't Tell Mamas.
Uh-huh.
So we used to go to Don't Tell Mamas. So, like, we started going to clubs together, me and Gabe. And then Gabe started getting to stand up. And I think he did his first set at Stand Up New York. It was probably like a Bob DeBono, like Bringer Shop.
No, I think he said it was
it was like a Jewish thing.
Yeah, it was like the funniest Jew contest kind of thing.
That sounds so like anti-Semitic.
It does sound super anti-Semitic, right?
Well, I mean,
straight from Belgium, it's the funniest Jew. Join us for our parade later.
You're not funny, you die. They'll kill you. But yeah, and then Gabe started doing stand up, and I used to come to the club and see him perform. And then I was living on 79th and West End in 2008, and I was in telecom, and I was like browsing the internet for businesses for sale. Like there's this website, bizbuysell.com, I think. And it's just a website. It's like listings of existing businesses for sale. So I came across a listing, like comedy club on the Upper West Side for sale. And I'm like, there must be Stand Up New York. It was the only comedy club up here. And I called Gabe, and I'm like, dude, like, I think Stand Up New York is for sale. Let's see if we can buy it. And we were like 27. We called the club. They said it was for sale. They invited us to see a show on a Saturday night. And yeah, I mean, it took a while. It was like 8 months negotiating with the previous owner and the landlord. But yeah, we bought the club end of 2008, and it's been 12 years. And it's
coming up with a bar mitzvah.
Yeah, and
if the world survives that long.
It's actually the club's 35th year anniversary in January.
Wow.
Oh, no way. That's awesome.
That's how I got in. It was really, Gabe's like the big comedy nerd. Like he can probably repeat your acts like word for word, Like he's seen you guys and like comics that have been here. like 1,000 times. Like he loves just sitting in the showroom and watching all the comics. I'm more of the business guy, the branding. I like the marketing, the PR, the culture, building relationships with bigger comics and agents and managers and vision, big picture, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Jews have a rich history with comedy. Do you feel at all a responsibility as a Jewish comedy club owner to really be presenting a certain level of comedy to the public, or really helping get comedy out there? I know you guys are doing that right now with all the park shows. Excuse me.
You're saying, do I feel a responsibility to Jews?
Not just to Jews, but as with the history of all Jewish comedians, and how much Jews have given to the genre of comedy. Do you feel that as a Jewish stand-up comedy club owner that you kind of are part of that, and you have a kind of a responsibility to present amazing material and get comedy out there to the public?
When are we starting, by the way? Have we started?
Yeah, we started.
You know what? Yes. Ask me a year ago or 6 months ago. I would say no, but I feel like I had a come to Jesus moment during COVID, like March, April, May, where it was the first time in 12 years that I've owned the club where I finally was able to have the space and think. March, April, May, I came to the club every day. I was sitting at the bar by myself. There was nothing to do. It was amazing. I mean, I was catching up on emails and tasks and projects, and I really had 3 months just to myself and think, and that 3 months changed my whole outlook on working, with people and being in this business where, yes, I feel like I do have a responsibility to comics, to New Yorkers, and I really want to do my part to make people laugh in the city and to keep the city going and keep comics working. And it gives me a lot of joy to be able to do that. Ask me 6 months ago, I would tell you I just want to fill the seats and make money so I can support my family,
Okay.
But during COVID, I don't know, I just started thinking differently, and I feel like my passion now is much different than it was 6 months ago. And I love the business, I love the comics, and I'm really trying to do whatever I can to keep comedy and New York going.
And you totally are. I mean, you are producing more stand-up comedy shows in New York City now than anybody else. And, people are responding to it and they're loving it. And I know as a comedian that has performed on these shows, I'm extremely grateful for having this opportunity because, it's not there anymore. We went from doing multiple shows every night to not performing at all. And all of a sudden you guys are running, what do you got? Some 10 shows going on some nights in the city.
Yeah, 5 to 10 shows a night, over 45 shows a week. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm making up for, I don't know, I feel like 12 years flew by, and where the hell was I, and the past 6
12
months.
years a comedy club owner is going to be a new movie coming out.
And I don't know, now I'm I don't know, it's so strange. I feel like 12 years flew by, and what I accomplish here, But I feel like I've redeemed myself, sort of, and I feel like redemption, and I feel like I'm giving back and doing the right thing.
Nice. I do think you're giving back. And, I think, comedians, a lot of them, they have goals in the business, whether it's to get on late night TV, to have a sitcom, to be in movies. As a comedy club owner, do you feel like you have comedy-related goals?
I love being around creative people. That's what drives me. Just being around people that are creative. It doesn't necessarily have to be comedy. It could be music. It could be movies. It could be TV. So yeah, no, I'm just being straight. If you ask me will I be in the comedy business forever? I don't know, but I will be. I can see myself being. I can't see myself doing something outside of entertainment. we're filming a docuseries now about comedy during COVID. So, like, I'm very excited about that. I always wanted to go into, like, film, or it could be, like, scripted TV. Believe it or not, like drama. I love to, like, be involved in like a drama. It could be like TV. It could be film. So I could see myself going into that area in the future.
Okay, that's cool. And so let's talk a little bit about your history. You were brought up Orthodox, right?
I was brought up Orthodox. Yep.
You went to, like, Hebrew day school.
Yeah, I went to yeshiva since the first grade.
Now, do you still consider yourself Orthodox?
Yes.
And you got 3 kids.
I have 3 kids in yeshiva.
Oh, they're all in yeshiva.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. One's in 7th grade. One's in 4th grade. And the boy is in pre-K.
And how do they respond to Judaism and being Orthodox?
I mean, it's part of them. I mean, they were born, what's that Lady Gaga song? Born That Way.
Born That Way.
Yeah, they're Jewish. They keep kosher. We observe the Sabbath. When we could go to synagogue, we do. We haven't been since, like, March.
You guys going to be celebrating, obviously, this weekend for the Rosh Hashanah?
Yep.
Are you going to
doing Rosh Hashanah, Kippur? We do Sukkot. We're like hardcore Jews. I mean, I don't like on Sabbath. I wear the yarmulke. Like, I don't wear it at work. But yeah, like, my wife also was raised Orthodox. I'm a little, like, disturbed though at the Orthodox community these days because of their seemingly overwhelming support of our administration.
I hear you. It is very frustrating.
Yeah.
I was just reading how, Trump has a new Facebook ad anti-Bernie Sanders, that he's the puppeteer of Joe Biden, kind of furthering these anti-Semitic tropes that Jews are the puppeteers behind, the power.
I really don't understand. First of all, I don't understand how anyone can support this guy. But especially, like, the Orthodox community, where they're just so focused on Israel. And as long as, like, Trump supports Israel, he can get away with anything else. He can he can make fun of disabled people or call Mexicans, rapists and murderers and drug dealers, and make fun of, like, veterans. That's fine. That's cool. But he's for Israel. That's very it upsets me, and whenever I go to synagogue and most of the people around me are Trump supporters, like, I don't want to be associated with these people.
I hear you. Like, Donald Trump in no way embodies kind of like the spirit of Judaism, or has it all kind of like the moral integrity that you would think, Orthodox Jews would kind of have. I
think it's funny though that you're resistant to go to temple, not because the congregation are not wearing masks, but because they are wearing MAGA hats.
Yeah, I mean, I go to this a few doors down from me. They have, like, a prayer service, and there's someone that wears, like, really a Trump uniform. He wears a yarmulke that says Trump. He wears a T-shirt, his mask, like, head to toe, like, wow. Trump gear. Like, what? Like, how could you, like, be so religious and, like, go to synagogue every day? They go like 3 times a day. And then support someone that's just such a horrible human being.
Yeah.
Dani, so you have 2 daughters. Is it important to you that when your daughters grow up that they find Jewish men? Is that something that you care about?
Yeah.
Why is that important to you?
I'm part of a family, and I have a wife, and I would get yelled at if I say otherwise.
Great answer.
Yeah, it's important to you because it's important to her. There you go.
Yes, it's very important that they marry a Jewish man.
Is there anything you want to plug, Dani, before we go?
No, just people who live in New York should support the city in any way they can. Whether it's, like, performing or not moving out of the city, supporting local businesses, coming up with, like, real solutions to the problems. Like, the homeless situation is really bad. Like, I know people that walk around and just, like, bitch about, like, the homeless all day, but, like, let's come up with solutions. That's what I want to plug.
I think that's awesome. I mean, check out Stand Up New York. You can check them out. Their website, standupnewyork.com. You can check them out on Instagram at Stand Up New York. They're doing park shows every night throughout New York City. They're a lot of fun. I hope to see some of our listeners there, and we thank Dani for coming out and doing the show.
I'll break some news for you right now.
Uh-oh.
Ready?
Yes.
Biden is dropping. No, I'm kidding. We're launching next Thursday night at the Ford Amphitheater in Coney Island. It'll be a drive-in, and Dave Attell and Aaron Berg are co-headlining. So we'll be programming a lot of drive-in shows, up to 100 cars, through the fall, winter, who knows, spring. Probably going to be a long-term situation at the Coney Island Amphitheater.
That's awesome. So, so everyone be sure to check out the shows at the Coney Island Amphitheater. Looking forward to keeping New York alive.
Thanks for being a part of it. Like, we love when you're at the club. Like, we're mishpacha, you know? We got to stick together and help each other.
We totally do. I almost said we totally do. That was an alternate name for the podcast. Besides American Jew, it was going to be Totally Jew. Thank you, Dani Zoldan.
All right, man.
Good to have you back on the show, man. Chag Sameach.
Thanks, guys.
And a Shana Tova to you and your whole family there.
Thank you, sir. You as well.
Super thanks to Dani Zoldan. Thanks to everybody who's been listening. We really appreciate it. Check us out on social media at American Jew Podcast. Check me out on social media at Jonathan Randall.
You can find me at Beatnik Nudnik. And we wish you a happy and a healthy New Year, a Shana Tova to all of our listeners. Thank you.